I got the moves. I got the moves. I'm making moves. You gotta move. You gotta make the city move. Like, whoa. I make the city move. I got the move.
The Indiana Pacers have been one of the more underrated teams in the NBA as of recent. They've built up a fantastic culture, and though they lack star talent to be serious title contenders, they've always found a way to compete with the best. And nothing has changed this off-season. I feel as if the Pacers are still being heavily slept on and could be a top 3 seed next season in the weak Eastern Conference, yet most of the NBA community fails to realize it. So I'm here today to spread awareness about the Pacers and why I believe they can be a big threat to top teams next season and why they will surprise the NBA. If you're new here and enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe for more NBA content. But with that being said, let's talk about the Indiana Pacers. Last season, the Indiana Pacers finished with a record of 48-34 and ended up with the 5th seed, which is pretty decent. It's actually a lot better than it seems on the surface because for most of the season, the Indiana Pacers had no all-star as Victor Oladipo was out with an injury. Unfortunately, they were swept out of the playoffs in the first round by the Boston Celtics, but with no star, this team has showed a lot of promise. And the guy that has probably the most promise on this team is Victor Oladipo. As I mentioned, Oladipo suffered an injury midway through last season, resulting in him missing the remainder of it. Before his injury though, he was averaging 19 points a game, a bit less than his MIP year, but he was playing in less minutes per game, only 30 compared to 35. But when Oladipo was healthy, he has proven to be a legitimate NBA superstar. In his breakout year, where he won Most Improved Player, Oladipo averaged 23 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2.5 steals per game, which is insane. He led the Pacers on an incredible run, securing the 5th seed, and the team took LeBron to 7 games in the first round before unfortunately being eliminated. It was insane. Oladipo played a huge part in that run, and as we began the 2019 season, he continued to play at a high level. The Pacers were around the 3 to 4 seed before his season ended abruptly. If Victor Oladipo can come back and play at a similar level to what he was playing at the last 2 seasons, maybe 20 points per game on solid shooting splits, this Pacers squad will continue to make playoff appearances and potentially pull off an upset to get past the first round. But Oladipo isn't carrying the Pacers, not at all. If he was, the Pacers would have fallen off a ton last season and potentially missed the playoffs. But thanks to their great core and bench, Indiana continued to dominate last season. One of the players leading the bunch was Domantas Sabonis. As a 6th man, Sabonis averaged 14 points per game with 9 rebounds and shot 59% from the field. He was an elite bench player and was actually a top 3 finalist for the 6th Man of the Year award this season. After Oladipo's injury, the main reason why the Pacers continued their winning ways was because of Sabonis. He was the core of this team. They were built around him for that short amount of time. His confidence is growing, and I expect him to continue his successive few months into next season, probably becoming a 6th Man of the Year candidate again in the process. The next player I want to talk about is Myles Turner. I've been pretty high on Turner the last few seasons, but he's plateaued a bit, so I'm a bit disappointed in that aspect. This doesn't mean that Turner isn't a good player though. He's arguably one of the best young players in the league, top 25 at worst, and he's been extremely solid for the Pacers these last few seasons. In 28 minutes per game last season, Turner averaged 13 points and 7 rebounds and was the rim protector Indiana needed, averaging a league-high 2.7 blocks per game, which is absolutely insane. He's one of the main parts of the Pacers' young core and has proven to be incredibly valuable. Yes, he hasn't broke out into an all-star caliber player like he was projected to be a few seasons ago, but he's still an impactful starter on this squad. The Indiana Pacers didn't have many pickups this off-season. They only made a couple of moves here and there, but the most notable of the few was the gain of Malcolm Brogdon. This is a fantastic move for the Indiana Pacers. Brogdon is a brilliant starting point guard. He played for the Bucks to begin his career and has been amazing ever since, stepping onto an NBA court. He won the Rookie of the Year and has continued to improve his game every season. No, he's not an all-star, but if any team was given him a chance to have him, they'd take him in an instant. Brogdon is an extremely efficient scorer. Last season, he averaged 15 points per game on shooting splits of 50, 40, 90, which is just crazy. In fact, he is just one of only 8 players in NBA history to shoot 50% from the field, 40% from 3, and 90% from the free throw line in the same season. He joins the likes of Stephen Curry, Reggie Miller, Larry Bird, Kevin Durant, plus many more Hall of Famers too. Not only is he an efficient scorer, he can also pass the ball pretty decently and plays excellent defense. If Oladipo needs a rest or is struggling offensively, Brogdon can be that guy to take the load off of him and produce at a highly efficient level. Overall, his inclusion into the Pacers squad is a major dub for Indiana. Overall, I'm very excited to see how the Indiana Pacers play next season. The inclusion of Brogdon is huge and adds to the already great depth of the Pacers. They may have lost Bogdanovic, but I think they have overall improved this offseason. I've been noticing that the general consensus of this team in the NBA community is that they're alright, nothing special, but a good playoff team nonetheless. I think they're better than that. If this team can play like they did at the start of last season, and like how they did in 2018, this team could easily snatch the 3rd seed and obtain 50 plus wins, which to many would be surprising. Again, this team has a ton of potential. They have an all-around great roster. Don't sleep on the Pacers, they are going to be a lot better than you think. But that will conclude the video. What do you guys think of this? How far could the Pacers go next season? How many games do you have them winning? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop it a like and subscribe. But with that being said, I am out. Peace.
Aye, can I make one thing clear? If you was in the trap, brother, how were you here? We be over there, cause we in 5th gear. We move up the forecast, their positions unclear. We can't hear nothing, they all disappeared. All of these machines, I feel like an engineer. And we don't wanna hear about food or a budget. Then now we HP when we enter the dungeon.